Okay. Look, I am in my own zone right now. I'm on another planet. So please be patient as I bring myself back down to earth because I'm so ungrounded right now. But I'm just going to ride this wave, baby. Copy and paste. We're getting the live stream going, sharing to my group. This is the League of Badass Butterflies. Share to your group. League of Badass Butterflies. There we go. And all right, here we go. I am now ready. Okay. Got it. This meeting. Yes, we are on. All right. So, hey, hi, everybody. Okay. So I need to apologize because this girl right here forgot what time she was supposed to go live today. So I'm technically an hour late. Or you could say that I am 6 days and 23 hours early for next week's live stream. That's how I'm going to look at it. Hey, it's Crystalline here. And thank you so much for joining me live. If you are on the live stream, please in the comments type live, hashtag live, or if you are watching the replay, type hashtag replay. And thank you for joining. I'm excited about our talk for today because it's kind of one of my favorite subjects. And the title for today is Why It's Hard to Heal. Why it's so darn hard to heal. And we're using the wounded healer and shadow work to jailbreak your heart from unworthiness, okay? So today we are going to talk about why it's so difficult to heal your emotions, and we're going to explore how shadow work can help you break free from the prison of unworthiness. So as you know, my name is Crystalline, and I am Badass Butterfly. And in today's session, I need to let you all know right now that we are going to be I'm offering a master, it's called Mastering Shadow Work. And it's a workshop. It's going to run for 3 hours. And look, I normally run this workshop. It's $500. But if you sign up before December 3rd, do I have that right? Yes, if you sign up before December 3rd, no, before December 4th, okay, that's in next Saturday. Okay, if you sign up before next Saturday, then instead of paying $500, you're only going to pay $98. Okay, so that's the first thing. All right. But it's a 3-hour workshop. And basically, we're going to look at this. We're going to look at unworthiness, but we're also going to take a really deep dive into shadow work. I'm going to teach you some really important shadow work techniques, techniques that will help you deal with limiting beliefs, techniques that will help you deal with stagnant emotions. These are the most kind of powerful, and those are the things that block us. And so these techniques that I have are really, really awesome. So you'll enjoy learning those and practicing them, and you're going to receive a little healing along the way. So Rebecca will be getting that link together over the next 24 hours, and we'll get that posted for you. So if you're interested in the work in the workshop, please in the comments type workshop, and we will be sure to DM the information to you. Okay, so normally, like I said, that workshop is like $500 because it's a deep dive, and it's also 3 hours of us tucking into this really profound, life-changing practice. Shadow work helped me change my life. It is a pillar for my coaching clients. And I am really excited to teach you about it. So good, I hope you will join me. Anyway, if you're interested, just type the word workshop in the comments and we will get you the link when it's ready tomorrow or today. All right, so today's session is called Why It's Hard to Heal, using the wounded healer and shadow work to break yourself free from the prison of unworthiness. Okay, so I want to start off and I want to just look at why it's so dang hard to heal. But first, I should probably check in and see if anybody has had the chance to join me on Facebook. I see I've got Rebecca here. Hey, Rebecca. And yes, if you're also joining, please give me a thumbs up, give me a little heart, okay? If I say something funny, give me a little giggle, please. And also, if you feel like dropping a little confetti in the, if you feel like dropping some confetti in the comments, I won't be mad at you. I'll be really happy. I'll feel like we're in celebration mode, all right? So let's get into the topic, all right? So why is it so hard to heal? So I want to start off by saying that what we experience in this three-dimensional world is a direct reflection of our mindset, our focus, and really what's going on with our emotions. So a mindset that is solutions-oriented and positively focused on its goals is most likely and more able to deal with any obstacles or challenges that are going to arise as it pursues its goals. So it's not like, we're going for big things and not encountering obstacles or challenges. It's just we have a mindset that is oriented toward viewing those obstacles and challenges as opportunities for growth and expansion. Carolyn Dweck talks about this, or Carol Dweck talks about this in her book, Mindset. But it's like you have a choice about how you want to deal with obstacles and challenges. And it's all about how you view it in your mind. Do you view it as a problem, or do you view it as an opportunity? Okay, so an attitude that is really emotionally balanced doesn't shy away or avoid negative emotions, because just because we're positively focused on achieving our obstacles and challenges, like overcoming them, it doesn't mean that we don't have negative emotions. You're allowed to have negative emotions and you should allow yourself to have them, but you should not let them hold you back and you should not let them stop you from going for the thing that you ultimately want to go for, okay? So this attitude of going toward your feelings, of going toward challenges, and really not shying away from what's scary, not shying away from what's fearful, but also not trying to stay in that happy-go-lucky Pollyanna, I'm super positive, oh, I'm going to disregard those negative emotions, I don't do anger. All that kind of stuff is also that's spiritual bypassing and quite a load of crock. So that's not really helpful either. So being positively focused is really important, but living in denial about negative emotions and negative feelings is also super unhealthy. So I want you to be a soul who holds your shit together mentally and emotionally, because that's going to make you very successful, okay? It's going to make you have a really healthy, balanced, real, and whole three-dimensional experience that actually is probably more multi-dimensional when you allow this, okay? So, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I've built my entire career on being emotionally vulnerable with my clients, with my readers, all right? You all have seen me reach, struggle, and fall as I've learned to walk. And you all have been very supportive of me along the way. And you've cheered me on when I've succeeded. And you giggled when I stumbled and, stumbled and did a flourish. Okay, you giggled and you were like, yeah, go girl. I love that. Thank you. All right. So I'm really appreciative of that. And most of you all who are following me are natural healers, right? And whether you do this as a job or not, whether you get paid yet or not, you are most likely a healer. You get downloads about situations, you walk with synchronicities, okay? You're very conscientious in your relationships, and you're really doing your best to serve spirit as best as you can, okay? But like most healers, you suffer from your own wounds, okay? And I know you've heard the term wounded healer. We've been talking about that. We talked about that a lot in boot camp last or 2 weeks ago. And we've also talked about it just here in our league, just because it's so natural for us, okay? It's a part of the badass butterfly spiritual life coach experience, kind of being that wounded healer and understanding that, okay, we're going to have to release that in order to step into our power, but understanding that it is an integration. It's a part of who we are. Okay. Now, so I don't know what comes to your mind when you think about wounded healer, but for me, the image that comes to my mind is actually quite beautiful. It reminds me of, kind of an old man who's, kind of ambling along an ancient tree-lined road, okay? Maybe it's early summer morning and he's making his way into the village by foot, okay? He's got his potions and his herbs and elixirs, and he's got a bag of bones, animal bones for medicine, and he's got his crystals and these magic jars of balm. And I normally think about the wounded healer as a man, just because of Chiron, and we're going to get into that later. Okay, of course, there are plenty of wounded healer women, but for me, Chiron is kind of the quintessential wounded healer, and Chiron identifies as a dude. Okay, so this man, though, in my image, he kind of leans on a magical staff as he walks slowly to his destination. And he's wise, he's self-assured, and the road that he's traveling is long, and he's walked it a number of times, okay? But it's painful for him to walk this path because he's got this kind of limp in his left leg, all right? And I'm really integrating. I'm integrating the mythology of the wounded healer here. So this story probably sounds familiar to you, but it's partially Chiron's story, but it's partially also, the Fisher King. And, there are just so many traditions that use the wounded healer archetype. So I'm kind of just in this imagery that I'm conjuring for you. I realize I'm kind of mixing a bunch of things. The guy is a man, but he's also a centaur. So he's half man, half beast, but actually he's a man because he's got a cane and he's limping along. So sorry, y'all. Let's just keep him as a man. We'll talk about Chiron. We'll leave Chiron out of this for right now and then come back to Chiron, okay? So this old guy's got this limp, which came to him early in his youth. And even though he's a powerful healer, and this is the important thing, even though this guy is this amazing, powerful healer, and he does so much good for other people, he is not able to really heal himself from his original wounding. And yes, he's nursed himself and he's nourished himself and he's done all the things according to the law. But the wound is still persisting into his maturity, right? And that is the imagery that kind of comes to me for the wounded healer. And very often I'll work with my students and they'll say to me, Crystal Lynn, I've already healed that. I've done this work already. I've already healed this. And yet their wounds, both the emotional and even the physical ones, still persist, okay? And, you know, if this is resonating with you, if you can relate to the wounded healer or to my students and even to myself, because you've got some persistent old wounding, you've done the work, but you notice that the wounding keeps coming back or you just haven't moved beyond it. If you can relate to it, please just drop me a note in the chat and say like, yeah, wounding, okay? Type in a W for wounding, because that's what we're experiencing, okay? Hey, Anora, it's nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining. So let's talk about the wounded healer archetype a little bit more. And as I said, this is a part of many different traditions and cultures, but my favorite one comes from the Greek tradition, and it's also kind of really eminent. Okay, I don't know what my face is doing right now because I'm kind of looking upward, but what I feel right now is, oh, Chiron, okay, this astrological body, which basically deals with our wounding. So Chiron is in everybody's chart and he's somewhere. Right now, Chiron is in Aries. And if you were born like from 1968 to 1977 or something like that, 75, you've probably got Chiron in Aries. And I have Chiron in Aries. And let me tell you, Chiron in Aries is really hard, okay? It's basically, you got issues with your physical being and your ability to generate. You got issues and wounding that stems and relates to your self-esteem, and depending on where it's placed in your chart, it can be really mind-blowing. So anyway, we're not going to get into that. But just understand that Chiron is somewhere for you somewhere. And if you want to learn more about it, then you can look into getting your astrology chart made. And if you want to talk to me about doing that, just drop a note in the chat and say astrology, and I'll talk to you about getting your chart made, okay? So going back to the Greek tradition, Chiron was this centaur, which is a race of mystical beings that are notorious for being loud, raucous, drunk, okay? They're beastie, they're very beastie, very beastly, they're beastie, all right? So Chiron, God, I think his father is Zeus. So, and his mom is, I cannot remember his mom's name. I'm so sorry, you guys. Anyway, so Chiron was born. So Zeus, Zeus, all due respect to Zeus, but Zeus was a rapist, okay? And this beautiful woman was bathing herself, and then Zeus comes along and he's like, I'm going to have sex with you. And she's like, no, I don't want to have sex with you. And so she takes off running and she turns herself into a horse. Okay. Zeus turns himself into a horse and continues chasing her. He runs her down and then rapes her. And then she's pregnant. So she goes off, and because Zeus is not hanging out like trying to take care of her or his baby, she gets pregnant, gives birth to the baby, and because she was a horse and Zeus was a horse at the time, the baby is a centaur. So he's half human, half horse. And so she's like, oh, you're repulsive, and she sends him away. Okay, she abandons him. Well, the sun god Apollo is brought this child and just kind of falls in love with him and takes him under his wing and sees him like not as his son, but as his nephew, I would say. I cannot say that Apollo thought of Chiron as his son. Maybe he did, I could be wrong. But I think he just kind of like took him under his wing. And so Chiron, even though he's a centaur, because he was raised by the sun god Apollo, Apollo teaches him poetry and music and archery and prophecy and healing. This is why this is so important, because, you know, Apollo's the sun god, he's the god of beauty, but he's also a master. He is the master healer, okay? So Chiron has learned all of this amazing healing work under Apollo, and Apollo is, and Chiron is very soft, and so he's really embraced by all the gods as this very graceful creature, and he's not seen as the other centaurs. Centaurs are as these raucous, loud, drunken, heathen beasts. Okay, so Chiron is really running in a very high circle. He's very esteemed, he's very dignified, and he's a great healer. He's learned so much. And it's such a beautiful story. I really love this story so much. So anyway, Chiron becomes friends with Hercules, all right? And Hercules is the accepted son of Zeus. And they are basically brothers from another mother, right? But they're besties. They're hanging out together. And one evening, they're out at a party, and a bunch of centaurs start attacking. Now, there are a couple of, there are a couple of ways this story goes, all right? But basically, a bunch of centaurs roll up on Hercules and Chiron, and they start firing. Wait, how does it go? Hold on. Okay, I've got a couple of stories in my head again, you guys, so forgive me for this, but okay. So there are a bunch of centaurs that are getting out of hand, and I think that they are chasing down a woman. And Hercules and Chiron go in to rescue the woman, and Hercules is drunk, okay? And he's got arrows, and he's dipped them in the blood of a hydra, which is this three-headed snake, okay? And basically, you know, Chiron is partially a god, so he's immortal, but when his bestie shoots him with this arrow accidentally, okay? He accidentally shoots him. None of Chiron's healing techniques will work against this wound, okay? Because it's dipped in the blood of the Hydra, okay? So Chiron is basically now maimed. And, you know, he's a kind guy, but he's living in excruciating pain every single day, all right? So eventually, Chiron can't take the pain anymore, and he wants to kill himself, okay? But he can't kill himself because he is immortal, all right? So he goes to Hercules, and he's like, let me get this right. He goes to Zeus, who is his father, but I think he might be in denial. I can't remember. I'm so sorry. I'm getting the stories mixed up. But basically, he goes to Zeus, And he says, look, I can't take this pain anymore. I want to die. All right. And Zeus was in the process of like doling out punishment to Prometheus, who gave humans fire and like, was really like loved humanity and gave us things that like elevated humanity, right? So Zeus was mad at Prometheus for doing that. And so Prometheus was tied to a stone, and he basically was doomed to get his liver eaten out every day for the rest of his life by an eagle, because the eagle is Zeus's bird, okay? So what Zeus said was, okay, I'm tired of like having to do this thing with Prometheus. Why don't you go get on there with Prometheus switch places with Prometheus. We'll work a little magic. You'll get your liver eaten out by the eagle, and you'll die after that, okay? And so that's what they did. So Prometheus was set free. Chiron went and served the sentence, and then he died. Finally, when the eagle came and ate his liver. All right, so he was finally freed from his burden. So the only way he was able to really free himself from pain was to die, okay? So again, look, I'm sorry if my telling of this story is off. There are many different versions of these stories that have been passed down through the centuries. So what am I going to do? But you get the gist. The point is that Chiron was in pain, and look, this was a wound of love. Like his friend and he were trying to do the right thing, and he got wounded by one of his best friends, okay? It wasn't like an evil wound. It was a mistake, all right? And the whole point was that it didn't matter, wasn't matter that Hercules was well-intended or just, careless, okay? What mattered is that it didn't heal, okay? And that's really tragic for our beloved Chiron, all right? So here's my point that I want you all to think about around this idea, okay? Unworthiness is a part of the wound that won't heal in many people, okay? In many of us. And if you're listening to this and it's resonating, then I'm talking to you, all right? If it's not you, then you can just continue listening, because this is probably going to be an issue with your clients, because most human beings are dealing with a sense of unworthiness at their core. All right. So as we move forward in our healing businesses, okay, our coaching business, our healing business, and particularly for myself, sorry, I'm hiccuping. I should stop drinking Perrier before sessions. Okay, I should stop drinking Perrier before I do a live stream, because it gives me hiccups and it makes me want to burp. So excuse me. But as I start to think about moving forward in my business, and you are building your business, okay? The wonderful thing about life and expansion is that your limiting beliefs, your negative mindsets, and any disempowered emotions you have, and any disempowered behaviors that you do, are going to keep coming up for you to keep expanding, like to keep working through them and expanding. All right. And, just in being in full disclosure, because that's what I do. I'm honest with you about my feelings and the things I experience. But, even today, as successful as I am as a spiritual life coach and in my business and, financially and doing the things that I do, there are still issues of limiting belief, negative mindsets that still creep in, okay? And these things won't let me move past they won't let me move past my old concept until I break free from them, until I address them. So my life is spent dealing with limiting beliefs, overcoming them, and then taking step forwards, meeting new limiting beliefs, breaking through those, and then moving forward. Okay, that's how it goes. All right. And my thing is pushing out of my comfort zone. Okay, getting out of my comfort zone and moving into more magnificence. And as I do, I realize that there are some Memorex tapes that are playing over and over in my mind. And what I would encourage you to do is to look at yourself and to make a list of the themes that are playing over and over in your mind, like Memorex tapes. Okay. So for example, sometimes I'll be doing things and I'll be like, oh, this is wrong. I shouldn't be doing this. This is wrong. Like I could be doing a live stream and there's a voice in my head that's saying, this is not a good live stream. I shouldn't have done this. This is not a good topic, you know? And, oh, my success is going to backfire. Oh, this is going to go wrong. Even though I've been on, this positive trajectory, even though I do my work, even though I'm really consistent, there's this thought like, oh, that could all come crashing down. You could lose anything at any moment. That's a Memorex kind of just old paradigm that I will like kind of break apart, and then it will slowly bring itself back together in a new form. But I'm like, that's the old form just taking on, just wearing a new pair of shoes. And I got to then break it down again. I want you to make a list of those old mindsets because that's a starting point for healing, okay? So make a list of those mindsets and start to look at where you have these old tapes repeating themselves over and over again in your life, okay? The thing that's important to remember is that you cannot change your life from those same circumstances that put you, you cannot change your circumstances with the mindset that put you into those circumstances in the first place. You cannot change your environment with the same mindset that created that environment. So you have to break out of your old mindset in order to step into a new way of being and a new environment for yourself. So how do you do that? Okay, so let me just check in and see if you all have any feedback for me. And Nora, thank you so much. And Kelly is here. Hey, Kelly, it's good to see you. And Shannon is here. And thank you. Yes, Selena is here. Thank you for that wounding information. Yes, y'all. Okay, the wounding is for real. All right. Nora says, yes, the wounding, oh God, Nora, yes, Cancer, astrology, Cancer, yes, that is ruled by the moon and the feeling is so deep, it's so profound. So yes, thank you so much for sharing that. And Honora says, as an emotional empath, I've been working on getting my ex-husband back in my life, but I'm struggling with this hurt and my own. There's too much toxicity and negative energy. Yes, I know. She says, faith over fear will always be the key to your higher self. Free to be able to see the rebirth of the healing energy flow comes into the evolution of these. So mote it be, shall it be, until we all blessed be. Look, I completely feel that energy of like that wounded soul connection with your life partner is so, so powerful. And yet, it might be here for all of eternity, it might be here for all of eternity. And this is what, and so let me get into the solution, because part of my solution is to not try to overcome it. Okay. I don't mean don't try to overcome it forever, but sometimes what happens is this, and bear with me, y'all. Too often we try to get healed perfectly, and we think, oh, I'm going to reach a state of perfect alignment and perfect atonement, and I will never have to, I'm going to live out the rest of my days being pain-free. So I think it's really important to understand that that's not necessarily the goal. It's not necessarily a helpful goal. And it actually, I think that type of goal leads to more disillusionment and more frustration and more pain. Now, I don't want you all to think that I think that life should be painful. I don't, but I think that life is a necessary part. I think that pain is a necessary part of life. You know, take the moon, for example, take the sign of Cancer, as Honora is so beautifully kind of pointing out to us. There's a lot of pain that's contained in our water signs: Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. And the sun moves through those signs every 3 months. It's going to be in one of those signs, or every 4 months, it's going to be in one of those signs. And those are the signs of being deep in your feeling nature. The sign of Pisces is about going deep into your deep subconscious self. And there's bound to be not just your wounding, but your ancestral wounding, your mother wound, your father wound, past life wounding. So to think that we are going to get into this life and reach a state of not feeling any pain is not necessarily the goal. However, the other side of that is what happens when you become at one with your pain, when you stop resisting your pain. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, what I'm describing right now, I don't consider that to be shadow work. I consider this that I'm talking about to actually be light work. So when you're in pain, physical pain, we reach for aspirin or Advil or something harder, Vicodin, okay? I don't do that shit, but I know people do, all right? And what there's an opportunity, okay? And don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking pain meds, all right? But there's an opportunity when there's pain that you're experiencing, you can medicate or you can be with the pain. Now, after surgery, I'm not talking about that. That's different. Go get yourself some pain medication after surgery. But when the pain is bearable, stop the medication and be with the bearable pain and see the kind of incredible journey that it takes you on. And I've told this story before, but I'm going to tell it again here. I had had a hysterectomy, and they gave me ibuprofen. I didn't do Vicodin, but I don't need it. I didn't need it. I just needed my ibuprofen. So I took my ibuprofen for 3 days. And for whatever reason, on the 4th day, I thought, oh, I feel great. I don't need the ibuprofen. And I had a major hysterectomy. It wasn't a simple hysterectomy. I had uterine fibroids. I looked like I was 8 months pregnant. When they took my uterus out, it was a ginormous mass of tumors, okay? It was a major surgery. It was, a lot of physical trauma. And here I am 4 days after being sliced open from left to right. I thought, oh, it's a good idea to stop the pain medication. No, what I thought was a good idea was to take a long walk, okay, and then stop the pain medication. Well, actually, it was a brilliant idea because it was the most healing experience I'd ever had. Basically, the pain started and I started vomiting because the pain was incredible. It was 4 days post major surgery, layers of cutting, okay, stitches. And all of a sudden I'm off the medication, and spirit was like, inside my head, it said, don't don't touch that medication. Just be with this pain. You are safe. And sure enough, I sat there with that pain and went on this incredible journey for about 8 hours of what felt like hysteria. It was, but it was in and out of this incredible trance. It was just a journey of pain. And after 8 hours, what was most amazing was that I was completely out of pain, and I hadn't, and what was really amazing is that after, it took me 5 years before I even took any kind of pain medication. I was basically pain-free for 5 years after that. It was an incredible experience. My point is that pain, physical and emotional, is not about running away, but calling to. And when we make a friend with pain, and this is why I say this is like the first step, is to kind of understand that going towards your pain is the first step of healing. And then there are other steps. I'm sorry, I want to keep us on track. I don't want to make this a long session. So I'm gonna get back on track, but we can talk about this more. All right. Ivana says it's so true. Yes. Pisces, hashtag Pisces. Hey, Ivana, it's nice to see you. Yeah. Yeah, and Nora, this is exactly right. This is like creating bonds around pain is actually a really beautiful experience, but you have to work that so that it becomes a bond of love through pain, as opposed to a bond of mutual disintegration because of the pain, So this is really heavy topic, y'all. So let me get back on track so that I can get you all moving on. Okay, and I want to make sure I make my point. All right. My point is, though, that like hitting rock bottom is an option. Going into the eye of the pain is an option, and it's a good thing. I know that hitting rock bottom hurts like hell, okay? But if that's what it takes for you to give up the ghost of your ego so that you can stop being unworthy, so that you can let go, then that's where you need to go, okay? That's what you do, then that's what you need to do, okay? So the other thing, though, is shadow work, all right? So that's why I started this, and I want to remind you all, okay, that the shadow work workshop is December 14th, okay? There will be a replay available, by the way. If you want to get on that early bird discount, it's $98, okay? We're going to talk about this stuff more in depth, okay? That's why I've blocked the thing. I blocked our time to give us 3 hours, all right? So if you join me live, then, you'll be live during the 3 hours, but you'll also get access to the replay so you can rewatch it. And those of you who want to join but need to just watch the replay, then you'll have access to the replay, okay? And you are more than welcome to submit your stories and your questions before and after, and I'm happy to help you work through that before or after if you cannot join live, okay? So shadow work. So what is shadow work, right? So it is the deep exploration of the dark parts of your mind, all right? So this was a term that was created by Carl Jung, okay? He defined the shadow as that thing we think we are not. It's that part of ourselves that we want to deny, okay? We aren't that. Like, I'm not envious. I'm not mean. I'm not I don't feel unworthy. I don't have issues of jealousy, all that stuff that we deny, but that comes out like when we don't want it to, like when we get triggered. Okay. That's what the shadow is. All right. So on a conscious level, we think that we're worthy, deserving beings, and we think that we are safe to be what we want. Okay. But on a subconscious level, things can be very different. Below the level of the conscious mind, we all hold beliefs, attitudes, and thought patterns that don't necessarily come from an empowered place, okay? So old emotional wounds, mistakes, failures that we've gone through, things that we've done wrong in our lives, and just guilt from even having feelings of being jealous, like, oh, I'm jealous of her. Oh, I feel guilty about that. Oh, that drives the jealousy down even further. So now we got guilt and jealousy working against us. Okay. All of this stuff can really wreak havoc in our minds, and it turns our interior subconscious self into like a jungle of fear and doubt and low self-esteem and anxiety. Okay. So shadow work is an emotional healing process. Well, it's emotional, but it works on the mind as well. Okay. And it comes in the form of exercises that helps you logically access, okay, your emotional, imaginative, feeling, and subconscious self. So when we do shadow work exercises, we go in like, oh, we're logical and rational. Okay, that makes it really easy for the human in us, the egoic self, to go into the shadow, because we go about it in a logical way. But the nature of the shadow work exercises opens up the subconscious mind, and it calms down the logical conscious self so that the subconscious stuff can be accessed. It's really powerful, and you all are going to love it because, man, it's just really, it's so effective. It is so effective. When we do shadow work, we can make the most stoic, like ego-driven, logical, rational, I don't feel my feelings person take a deep dive into their emotions and come up and they're like, what is going on? But it's because of the nature of shadow work, okay? So the thing to kind of understand and why shadow work works is because very often our challenges and our hardship drives our ego. It drives our logical mind into instinct, all right? It makes us go into fight or flight or fawn, okay? And this creates a really big gulf between our conscious self and our intuition. And really, though, what we need to do is be bringing those things together when we are experiencing, like when we're triggered. So instead of, when we're triggered, instead of it driving our conscious and our subconscious apart, we need something that's going to actually bring these two parts of ourselves together. Okay. So we need the energy and stamina of the kind of deep energetic self to come forward. And we also need our intellectual self to kind of be able to work with that energy and stay grounded and to use it, not to overrun it and make it like to dominate it. And so it's kind of like the masculine and the feminine, right? The masculine would be the logical self, the feminine would be the instinctual self. So what we as kind of Western beings tend to do is when something triggers us, we bring in the masculine self and we stuff down our feelings and we go about things in a logical way. Oh, well, I should handle this in a logical way. Let me stuff down my emotions, okay? What we want is for the feminine to stand strong and the masculine to stand strong, but to stand strong together as a united couple, spiritual union, okay, within the self. But that's hard to do, okay? Because that's hard to do. Let me just say that, because the emotions of the feminine can be so strong. And all my Pisces, my Scorpio, my Cancer, y'all on this call listening, you know what I'm talking about. That feeling nature is strong. That's also true if you have those as rising signs, okay? The feeling nature is super, super strong. And it can wreak havoc, because when the feminine overruns the masculine, then we can go and break up all the shit in the house, okay? Or we can turn all that stuff inside, beat ourselves up, and then we become ineffective in the 3D world, all right? Shadow work helps us deal with the fight or flight instinct, okay? And any other out of control emotions. It gives us a practical way, a rational way to deal with troubling situations so that we can have clarity and balance. And it still allows, it allows the three-dimensional logical self to work with the multidimensional feminine energetic self, okay? So in the workshop that we're doing, again, if you want to get that link sent to you, type in the word wounded. Is that what we're doing? Or are we typing in shadow? I don't remember. What are we typing in? Just type in workshop if you want me to send you the link to the workshop, okay? I or Rebecca will send it to you, all right? So anyway, my point, you all, and it's time for me to be wrapping this up. My point is that the learning shadow work is a powerful way. And I also have to say, not just learning it, I'm going to say learning it with me. And I don't mean that in an arrogant way, even though it sounds a little bit arrogant, it feels a little arrogant as I'm saying it. But the reason I'm saying this is because I started doing shadow work 11 years ago. And it was, I gotta say, it was the way that I changed my life. I changed my inner world doing shadow work. And when I built my coaching business, I built my coaching business on a platform of shadow work. And I've been a coach now for over 10 years. And I'm a busy life coach. I'm not a life coach who has like one or two clients. I'm a life coach that literally sees 20 clients a week, okay? And when I say that I do shadow work, I mean, and when I say I'm a shadow work master, I am a master of shadow work. I'm a master of working with the shadow. So I'm saying that learning shadow work with me will give you a great opportunity. Even though I know how to make it very simple to use, I also know how to get us deep. And that's what I'm looking forward to sharing with you on the 14th when you come and work with me, okay? So part of our work will also be light work, because I'm not going to submerge you all in the shadow and then be like, see you, bye. That is not cool, okay? Whenever you do deep shadow work, you also have to give people a way out. You've got to get their hand and bring them out of the mire, because one of the problems with shadow work is that shadow work breeds more shadow work. Yeah, there you go. Okay, y'all. So I'm going to check in with you all and see if you have any feedback for me. Hey, Lydia. Hi, it's good to see you, friend. And Alicia is here, and Ebony is here too. Hey. Wait, oh my God. Okay, wait, hold on. Alicia says, I love that you discussed the painful beauty of that scary part of the journey. Yeah, that's it, exactly. Vana, I'm an Aquarius with an Aquarius rising and a Virgo moon. And I have a bunch of stuff in the 12th house. I have the sun in the 12th house and Venus in the 12th house and Capricorn in the 12th house. So I have a lot of that also. Thank you so much for mentioning that, because the 12th house in astrology, and y'all, I don't want to do too much astrology on these calls, but sometimes you just gotta, okay? But that 12th house, having the sun there, having Venus there, having Capricorn there, does give me quite a bit of authority with the shadow as well, and working with the subconscious mind. Yeah. Okay. Excellent. All right. Alicia, thank you so much. And Ebony, I'm so glad that you joined us. She says, I'm sorry, my granddaughter had my phone while I had. That's funny. That's so cute, man. Bless her little heart. Oh my God. And bless wireless technology. Oh my God. And Alicia says, I've been waiting for the answer of shadow work. Thank you. Okay. Yes, very good. I hope that was helpful. And let's see. Oh, Alicia asks, did you say flight, fight, or fawn? What does that term mean? Oh, Alicia, this is a good question, because this is kind of a new awareness that we are coming into. The kind of traditional term is flight or fight or fight or flight, whatever, you know. And it's kind of been this way. The question is like, how do you deal with fear? You either fight or you flee, okay? But now in psychological circles, they're kind of expanding that. And they're seeing that there are many different ways that people deal with fear. And fawning is one of those ways. And one of the and what it basically means is that you kind of placate. You kind of it's much more complicated than that, but it's about kind of, oh, it's a little bit of what is the syndrome? Y'all, I'm having a brain fart. What is the syndrome when you take on the abusive role of your abuser? So you have an abuser, okay? You have an abuser, they're abusing you. And in order for you to survive, you start abusing yourself too, and you start agreeing with them. So when your caregiver says, you're stupid, you're a failure, you start identifying them with them, and you start calling yourself a failure and an abuser, because that's kind of a way to survive. And you might be like, yeah, I'm right. Yeah, you're right. Oh, yes, I did that. Oh, I'm so stupid. I shouldn't have done that, right? So, and yes, Kelly says, fawning is like people pleasing. Yes, it's a survival technique to help you survive, okay? Because if you don't do that, then your caregiver will beat the shit out of you. And I'm saying caregiver because this is when it happens most. Children are dealing with abusive parents, and that is the issue, okay? Very good. All right, so yes, we'll get you the information about the workshop in the next couple of days. And very good. Vana says, I'm trying to figure out all the other stuff with me rising, all born with time, 1140. Vana, I will send you a link, and you can get your chart. You all, if you want me to do your astrology chart, I have a beautiful software that I can run your chart. It's $32. Just drop me a note and say astrology if you want me to send you the link to order your chart, and we'll get your chart ready for you within the next 24 hours, okay? All right. Alicia says, yeah, that was me. Yeah, okay. Very good. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, look, it's me too, okay? I kind of do flight, fight, and fawn, but the fawning is what I naturally do, and it was a survival technique, and now it's something that, again, still still overcoming, still working on. But that's okay. I'm not trying to reach perfection. I'm just trying to live my best life. And that's what I'm talking about. You don't have to escape pain altogether to live your best life. You just need to live your best life and understand that pain is a part of living your best life. I don't regret any of the pain that I've gone through. I might regret some of my ways of dealing with that pain, but a lot of the ways I dealt with it, I don't regret. Like when I would get mad and fight, when my cheating ex-boyfriend had to call the police to get me off of him because I was beating the fuck out of him, right? Yes, I don't regret that one bit. I will do that again. If I'm ever put in that situation again, I will fight, okay? Because that's who I am. I don't regret it. But do I want to manage my emotions and make better decisions about men? Hell yeah. Living my best life, yo. All right. And Nora says, how do astrologies work without your birth time? Look, that's a good question. So your astrology report, what we have to do is what's called a sunrise chart. And so if you don't know the exact time you're born, it is okay. You just will have some issues around what sign was on the horizon. It is worth it to pull out your birth certificate and check and see what time is on your birth certificate. If it's not there, because not all places write the birth time, okay? If it's not there, ask somebody. Ask your mom, because she most likely knows at least the approximate time of your birth. She's going to be like, oh, it was early morning, or it was close to midnight because your father, blah, 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 So ask, all right, and let's get an approximation of your birth time. That's how it would work. All right. Very good. Love you share these moments on your journey. Got me laughing and loving your light honesty to self. Thank you so much, Alicia. That's really nice. I appreciate it. So look, y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. And just one last word before we go. Tomorrow, let me look this up right now, but tomorrow is the new moon in Sagittarius. I'm going to double check. I might be wrong. Let me just double check. New moon calendar. Time and date. Here we go. Yep, it is the new moon, November 23rd. So tomorrow at midnight, so it's November 23rd at midnight my time. So if you're in the US, so around 6 p.m., 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock, okay? If you're in California, around 3 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow. If you're on the West Coast, 3 o'clock. If you're on the East Coast, 6 o'clock p.m. There's the new moon in Sagittarius. And you all know, as spiritual life coaches, you all can take this as an opportunity to connect with the moon and do some manifesting ritual. I am not able to do that with you all this week, just because I've got some things going on. I've got new people that are enrolling in my program, and I'm focusing on them. So I don't have time to take you all through the ritual and all that. But you learned from what we did 2 weeks ago. You know that during this time, you want to light some candles and you want to focus on something you want to manifest for yourself. New moons are a time of manifesting. So just sitting down with your journal, make yourself some tea, light a candle, and just, pray to your God and say, hey, God, the moon is now new. Thank you so much. This is what I want to create for myself. This is what I want to manifest for myself. All right. That'll do it. All right, y'all. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Please have a wonderful, wonderful week. And I'll see you back here next Tuesday for another live stream meeting. All right. Thanks for joining me today, y'all. Bye for now.